change. I gotta iron my shirts more often. Hello, fellas and ladies. It's time to review Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Film takes place generations after Caesar's death in the last movies, and it follows the new world where apes are the dominant species and humans are stupid assholes. However, a mean dictator ape gets the new main ape named Noah's dad killed, and him and a human lady embark on an adventure together. A vague way of describing it, but I don't want to reveal too much. So look, this movie was never going to reach the highs of the previous movies. Plain and simply because Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes were directed by Matt Reeves. Wes Ball is not Matt Reeves, which is fine. Not everyone can be Matt Reeves. He is just simply one of the best when it comes to genre blockbuster filmmaking. Wes Ball isn't a bad filmmaker per se, he just doesn't have near the same sauce as Matt Reeves. So I went to this film with the expectation that it's just not going to be as good, and I was right. But I was pleasantly surprised. The movie certainly has some lows. Like, visually, it just simply doesn't look as grand as Dawn or War. Again, no Matt Reeves, he's busy making the best Batman movies ever. But certain moments towards the beginning definitely look visually stale. It's a colorful movie, but it looked kind of boring. Not to say the visual effects aren't incredible, but again, I was a little put off. Looking at the main character, well, the mocap technology is impressive. It didn't look as amazing as the previous movies. And also, the apes just speak clear English, and initially it dipped into Uncanny Valley territory. Like, even in Dawn and War, Caesar spoke, but there was a more apey dialect to it. But again, as the movie went on, I kind of went with it. In fact, towards the end, I was kind of blown away by the visual effects of this movie. I really feel bad for this franchise because it always comes out the same year as, like, infamously next-level VFX movie, and it keeps getting fucked out of the Oscar. I was also very much into the world building of this movie. The movie poses very fascinating ideas for what the Caesar world looks like in this universe. Sometimes characters will pass by other animals like a zebra and they're just like put aback. I wish they dived a little deeper into that, but it was still an interesting look at what the world is. A lot of the world is grassy as fuck. Like, infrastructure and technology just isn't a thing anymore, and most humans are just brain dead, so we see the apes build their own civilizations. The majority of the beginning focuses on Noah's, like, I guess, eagle tribe. Again, we don't get quite enough information, but it's more just we get to look at what the world looks like. The natural order, if you will. I do think in the beginning, it's a pretty nothing movie. Boring action, lame exposition. It definitely made me go, uh-oh. I do think Wes Ball doesn't have enough of his own distinct look at a film to elevate a project like this, so I wasn't per se surprised. But it does slog a bit in the beginning. In fact, I do think at 2.5 hours, there was some fat that needed trimming. I am not one of those people who's like, movies are too long these days. Wah. Fuck off. Movie can be 12 hours, and if it's interesting, it can feel shorter than an hour and a half movie. But this movie didn't need to be as long as it was. There were moments that maybe were longer than necessarily, namely, towards the beginning. But the movie takes a turn when we're introduced to the human character, played wonderfully by Freya Allen, by the way. And we're also introduced to, like, a wise orangutan played by Peter McCone, who is so endearing, by the way. And we begin to get, like, weirdly philosophical. We kind of find out that Caesar has been morphed into this religious figure. Monkey Jesus, if you will. Caesar is Monkey Jesus. And we see how the apes have morphed what he spread into their own thing. Mainly Kevin Durant's dictator monkey, who named himself Caesar and became like a false messiah. It does, in a way, like, this movie did not need to exist. I would not be surprised if the studio forced it to happen. That said, despite that, it feels like a natural progression of what the previous film set up. It does kind of make you wonder about human nature in a way, weirdly enough. For like a blockbuster. Humans and apes living in harmony may be like the ideal, but is that even possible? Can we as humans accept a new dominant species? Realistically, probably not, if we're being honest. There's some derivatives with that from Dawn and War. But in terms of setting up the future of this franchise, I gotta say, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes does a fantastic job of setting up what's to come. I'm not saying Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes needed to exist. I think War was a pretty perfect end to Caesar's story. But I'm very intrigued by the path this franchise has decided to go down, building off of Caesar's legacy instead of working around it. Wes Ball is continuing as director. I do hope his visual game picks up. But I do think this is another technically wonderful film with an emotional edge and something genuinely interesting to say. I was pleasantly surprised by this film, and I'm going to give it 8 Monkey Jesuses out of 10. Alright, that's it. That's the review. I fucking gave it a score already. You want more review? Fuck off. Like, subscribe, share. Now, I'm gonna go start a civilization with an ape, but it's gonna go well this time, don't you worry.